It's Sunday, probably around 11 a.m. I think I'm gonna be working on the donor card today because I'm at the point where it can be kind of dangerous to continue working on this thing with it being mounted on a rotisserie. If I start cutting out like this transition panel and stuff right here, the structural rigidity will probably be compromised because there won't be very much holding the car on, supporting the rear of the car. Literally, this would be it right here. This right here. So that's kind of dangerous. So I'm gonna leave it. At least the transition panel is side to side, providing some rigidity. So anyway, I'm not gonna work on the Eliminator today. I'm gonna be working on the donor car. Last weekend I pulled out the rear end as a complete unit, and so I'm gonna be working on getting the leaf springs off of this. From there, I'll probably, we'll see, probably maybe take like the backing plates and stuff, take the brakes apart. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go on this. I'm thinking I might end up using the axle housing, using this axle housing because it looks pretty clean. I'll have to get it taken down. Obviously, it's only a 2-hole housing. It's not a, or sorry, a 1-hole housing. It's not a 2. Which the Eliminator would have had a 2 because of the staggered shock car. So quick update. I've been working out here getting the donor rear end taken apart partially. So I got it pulled out, got it over here, got the tires off, which is quick and easy, but got the leaf springs taken off, which took a little bit of time. It wasn't too bad. A little bit tough getting them off because it hasn't been ever taken off, but nowhere near as bad as the Eliminator. So I got that sitting there. I'm probably gonna bring that in the garage. Here's the spacer plates. I believe these are Cougar only, and these are actually pretty nice. I'm going to soak them, and hopefully these turn out pretty good. And then over here,
2017 to 2020 certified pre-owned models only to qualified customers exclusively through Mercedes-Benz.
Over here are the U plates. And here's the rubber that came out of them. So you can see these are pretty clean. That's the original metal right there. No rust on that portion right there. Got the rear end up on the little workbench for now. I didn't notice this until I saw this thing dangling in the wind. But check this thing out. This is the original freaking axle tag, still on the car, which is like mind blowing. Obviously the rear end has never been out of the car because that is still there, so that's pretty cool. Never seen that before. I'm going to be taking the brakes off either end. Another cool thing is that the axle, man, look how clean this freaking housing is, man. This thing is like freaking beautiful. 9A10 date code. Hey, good afternoon, guys. It's Saturday, September 5th, probably around 2 p.m. A little bit hot out here, getting a bit of heat wave in San Diego. So I'm out here in the shade. I'm not working in the garage today, but I'm working on the donor floor pan from the car that got stripped and scrapped up in LA. This car got cut up. It's a pretty nice car, supposedly almost all original, but it ended up in a junkyard and it got parted out. So we got the floor pan from it. Got some other interior parts for it, like a dash pad and stuff. But yeah, today I'm going to be working on getting some of the spot welds drilled out on this thing. I'm going to be drilling out along here, getting this frame rail piece out, probably getting these out, the seat risers, and then I'm gonna see if I can do all this. Probably drill out the trunk to, I guess, transition panel spot welds, because this was cut along here. It wasn't drilled, it was cut. And the same thing at the front. The floor pan to like the kick panel. Morning, guys. It's Sunday morning, a little bit earlier than yesterday, probably around 11:30. Out here working on the rear end. I went to auto parts store and rented a axle puller. So I'm gonna work on getting the rear end taken apart today, getting axles out, getting the housing pretty much stripping the housing down to nothing so we can clean the housing up, because we'll probably end up using this housing for the emitter. So I'm working on that, got that thing hooked up. Shouldn't take too long to do that. Yesterday, spiderwebs. Yesterday I was over here working on this. Drilled out a couple spot welds along here, getting this thing out. Metal's really nice. This is almost done, it's got to get that part out. After that, I'm going to be working on either the other side, doing these, and also getting the seat risers out. All right, I got one axle out. Wasn't too bad. Getting those nuts out. A little bit of pain, but nothing crazy. I didn't really even need the axle puller. It kind of just came right out. I don't know if that's because I pulled it a couple times before loosening all those. I don't know, but it was pretty easy. Working on this side now. I gotta get these plates off. I think you have to take the bearing off to get the plate off. I don't know. I have to look at that. So yeah, working on this side now. It's coming along. It's going pretty quick. As I get the axles out, I will focus on, I guess, pulling the center pumpkin out. All right, so I got both axles out. It was super easy. I didn't even need a puller on the passenger side, the longer one right here. It just came right out. That was pretty cool. Super easy. So now I'm working on, I'm gonna figure out how to get the pumpkin off. I forget the order of operations for this stuff, but now that I got the axles out, this stuff should come out. So I guess I'll just loosen all the bolts along the edge of the third member and see if I can pull the thing out as a unit. I don't know. I'll just do what I can and see what happens. All right, well, that wasn't too smart. Axle fell. I was trying to get the bolt on the bottom, and a crap ton of freaking old as hell rear end oil came out, and that shit is thick. I don't know if this rear end's ever been taken apart or had an oil change, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some cat litter, and yeah, that was a lot of oil. I'll be back. All right, so I got some cat litter on that thing. Hopefully that'll soak it up. I don't want a huge oil stain right there. Got all the nuts off for the third member to the axle housing. You can see all the copper washers still on there. That's pretty sure that's a Ford thing Ford did from the factory. having copper washers actually prevented the axle from leaking along the threads here. So I'm assuming that's original. This rear end's pretty original, so it's possible that, you know, those have never been apart, or those nuts have never been off. So it's kind of cool. It was also possible that they were off and they just put new copper washers in there. Hard to say, but based on this, I'm assuming this rear end's probably never been out of the car. So now I'm going to work on trying to separate the member from the axle housing. We'll see how that goes. All right, so I got the pumpkin out. It wasn't too bad after I tried to get it out without removing all these little copper washers, and it was not doing anything. So I'm like, all right, I'll just take all those off. So I cut them off, bent them, ripped them off, and then I started using the chisel to go around, and it came off pretty quick after that. So that was good. There it is, sitting there. I got a lot of grease, or say oil, super thick oil in here. It's like freaking, it's like soup, like the shit's super thick. So I'm probably gonna, I don't know, I might just dump it into that, we'll see. I don't want to just soak it up in a bunch of paper towels, so dump it in here. Hopefully there's enough space in this thing for it. But yeah, I'm gonna get that cleaned up, and I guess clean the axle up a little bit, and from there, I don't know, might soak it. I have this box right here, which the axle fits in, so I might do some degreaser soaking in that box. We'll see. All right.
What are you doing?
Taking out this bumper, shock bumper here.
What's it for?
Doesn't want to come out. Those bolts are in vapor rust out. A couple different. Got some what are they called? U-bolts from leaf springs right here, and these are the front eyelet leaf spring bolts to the front mount for the leaf spring. These have been, I degreased them to get all the crap off, kind of hand wire brushed them. I didn't use a wheel, I just did them by hand, and did that, got them cleaned up, got all the crap off them, and then I soaked them in a vapor rust. And this is how they turn out. You know, they turn out pretty dang good. These are the ones off the donor, so these are pretty much ready to be, after they, you know, get dried off pretty good in the sun here. I'm gonna put them in a bag, or I'll actually put them in a little container, and I'll put some WD-40 on them. I'll seal them up, and then they'll be good for doing plating or whatever we're gonna do to them. I'll have to look at the manual to see what exactly finish these got. I think they're the bare or they're phosphate oil. We'll see. This is the the e-brake spring for underneath the car. I have a couple of those. Over here are the bolts I took off from the rear end yesterday for the third member housing, and these are for the axle backing plates. Looks like the third member, the axle housing and the backup, or the backing plate nuts are the same, because I have a bunch of these, so they're just the same nut, I guess. And these are the Daytona. Well, this car doesn't have a Daytona, but the bolts for the pinion to the third member. So all these bolts are really nice shape. I already have all these, but I just figured I'd do them to take the best from the pile. So I'm gonna have 2 full sets of both of these, because the rear end that came out of Eliminator also had all this stuff. So my dad told me I should try to get the windshield and rear window out of the donor, because once we do that, we can start cutting the donor apart pretty easily. Because his plan is to take he told me to take the windows out, and then we'll cut the freaking roof off, and from there we can cut the interior apart, getting, you know, like the transition panel and shit like that out. So I guess I'll work on that. I don't know if I really agree with that process, taking the roof off for no reason, but we're gonna need I believe we're using the quarters off this car, so as long as we don't need the roof. Yeah, we're still kind of iffy on the freaking metal work on this shit. So anyway. Man, that tool made it super easy. This thing's pretty cool. That was a lot quicker than taking the freaking Eliminator windshield out with a laser, what am I trying to say? Razor blade. It's pretty much ready to come out. I'm gonna wait until my nephew gets home in a few minutes, and I'll have him help me because I don't want to break it. Even though I did freaking crack it a tiny bit over here, just shitty. God damn it! Tiny bit right there. Right there. That sucks. It's super tight right here, so I couldn't get through, and I just being stupid. So that will get covered up. I don't know. I have a windshield already, so it's not that big a deal. But I don't like breaking shit that's usable. Now we're gonna work on getting this trim off the back here. The Eliminator didn't have this when we got it, so I'm not really sure how to get this stuff off. I'm just gonna see what I can do. Pry on it and whatnot. This trim's pretty nice, actually, it looks like, so I'll try to preserve it the best I can. Alrighty guys, so just a quick update. I let those parts soak out in the wall for a while, and I'm gonna be spraying some WD-40 on these just to preserve them until we get them plated. Let's give a nice bit of WD-40 spray. Then all I do is I just put a lid on and I just leave it. And this will pretty much preserve them. I've never really had an issue after that process with rust, unless I let the parts kind of just sit out and just, you know, in the moisture. But you know, we're in Southern California, there isn't much moisture in the air. So even then, those parts sat on the wall for 2 hours in the sun, and there was not a speck of rust on any of the parts. So there's that. Here I have a little bucket of evapor rust. These are the nuts and bolts from the axle, the backing plates, and the pinion bolts. I have to find out where to put that thing. It's freaking leaking oil. That's not good. And my buddy came over for a couple hours. We're just hanging out. He helped me pull the front and rear windows from the donor. That came out pretty easily. The front window came out super easy. I had that tool my dad dropped off, so that made it super quick. Just went around it, cracked it a tiny bit. I think I already showed that. And we got the rear window out. I used a Dremel to go along and cut the weather stripping out. I'm gonna have to clean this up at some point. I don't know how much I'm gonna clean it. I'll probably just get all this. I'll get the clips off. May end up using those. We'll see how good a shape they're in. Clean up the channel. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna do this today. This will be probably a next weekend thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Didn't get too much done today, but you know, any progress is good progress. I don't even care if I can even only spend an hour out here. I'm happy with it because at least I'm doing something. So a couple parts I want to take out of these bends right here. This bend is Evapor Rust or Rust 911, and this bend is the greaser. So I have some stuff that's been soaking in there for the past week, pretty much since the last, well, Monday, since Labor Day. So I'm gonna take that stuff out. I'm gonna clean it off, see what I can see if I can evaluate the condition of it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm taking all the parts out of the greaser bucket. This is about 20, maybe like 20 something gallons of the greaser in this thing.
It's not flaking off.
See if I can find anything. Oh, here, there's something else. I have a set of motor mounts in here too. There it is. These are the original motor mounts off the Eliminator. You can see the paint just comes right off. So you don't have to get super close. My nephew Isaiah is recording, so. You want to show yourself?
I already did. For 1 second. Hi.
So, nothing else in there. Let me get this stuff. I'll do some more research on these. But yeah, look how clean that is.
Yeah.
That's looks like it got stamped yesterday. Look at this thing. No pitting anything on this thing.
What's pitting?
That's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
It's when the rust eats the metal away. But yeah,
This one's gonna be good
this thing's
too.
really nice. That's pretty cool.
This one's gonna be really good too, Sean.
Yeah. Alrighty, so I got these parts all cleaned up. These are the ones that came out of the greaser right here. That's the pinion gear and pinion support for the 28 spline axle that came out of the donor car. Probably not going to end up using that because I don't think that's right. I'll have to look at the numbers. But these are the coil spring covers that came off the donor, and these are really clean, incredibly clean. So those are like, this metal is like amazing. So super happy with those. Here's the motor mounts of the Eliminator. I'm gonna have to vapor rust these and check them out. I'm sure they'll be usable, but they're kind of pitted. I don't know. I'll have to look into these more. This is the pinion cylinder bracket that came off the donor, and that thing's super clean. Got to vapor rust it. These are the axle, or the leaf spring Cougar only U-bolt mounts, and these are kind of, not that great. There's a lot of pitting. Alright, so I know it doesn't look like much, but I just spent probably like an hour or so cleaning out all the undercoating and crap. Sealer that was through all these seams across here, up over there. Pretty much lining the trunk or the floor to trunk transition panel, this panel right here, with the wheel wells. Did some cleaning back here too. Just getting this thing ready to be drilled apart pretty much. Cleaned out along there. Trying to wire brush a bit to make the spot welds more visible, because we're gonna have to draw all these out. You can see them right there. All right, so here's my end of day update. I was working on getting all the spot welds on pretty much the trunk and transition panel identified, because I think the plan of action here is going to be to draw out all the spot welds that connect the floor to the frame rail, and then I'm gonna have to think about it a bit more. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut, kind of cut the wheel well, cut along, cut down, probably drill out the pinch weld down here, all the spot welds on the pinch weld, separate the quarter from the trunk drop off, by drilling these, and cut along the wheel well, because we're not going to be using the wheel wells from this car. It's going to get too complicated. So we're going to pretty much cut the wheel wells out of this car to make it easier to get all the other stuff out without messing up the other stuff. So the idea would be to save the quarters, even though I don't know if the quarters are going to be worth saving because all this freaking rust. I'm not going to deal with that right now though. So the idea is to drill out all these. Pretty much, we want to be able to lift, just take the trunk floor, the whole trunk floor, the trunk transition panel, and just take it out. So the tail panel is going to be disconnected from the frame. The tail panel is also going to come off. I think we're probably going to completely disconnect the quarters from the car just to make it easier, because that's just going to get way more complicated if we're trying to keep the quarters connected to, like, the floor, because they're connected down here to the trunk drop off, they're connected to the tail panel. That's all going away, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Drill out all these along here, both sides. Drill out the ones on the bottom of the trunk, the pinch weld trunk drop offs. Cut along here, because we're not using this floor, we have the floor over there. And then, so cut along here, cut, boom, boom, cut up. And then kind of this whole thing is gonna pop out that way. These have to be taken out, of course. It sounds way easier or yeah, sounds way easier than it's gonna be. It's gonna be really tough to get all these out without screwing up the metal. I mean, yeah, you can always fix the metal, but I want to keep it as nice as possible, and I'd like to preserve as many spot welds as possible, which is why I want to do it as kind of like a unit if I can, like do the trunk, like if I can do the transition panel and the trunk floors and not disconnect them from each other, just keep them as a unit, that'd be pretty awesome. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but if I can, I will. So yeah, that's the idea right now. I'm gonna probably start marking up spot welds and stuff. Hey, good morning guys. It's Sunday, September 13th. It's about 11:30 in the morning. Just stopped by Home Depot real quick to get some piping, ducting for the ventilation fan in the bathroom. I had to put a new one in last weekend, so I got some ducting. Also got a big bucket of degreaser, 5 gallons of degreaser. Used up the rest of it last weekend. So I did also purchase some parts in the past probably 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to film myself showing you guys the parts. So let's see. All right. So here's a NOS oil pickup tube. I got off eBay. It's the gasket for it. So here's this. Pretty nice. Only was like 40 something bucks. Pretty happy with it. It's got the R on it, which if you look at the 420 Cougar forms, that's right, supposedly. No date on that piece, but it's okay. It's a C2 number NOS, so pretty happy with that thing. Wasn't crazy amount of money, $42 for that, so pretty happy with that thing. A lot of times the used ones you can find for like 50. I'm like, well, if I can get an NOS one for cheaper, then why would I not do that? So here's that. Trying to keep this stuff all wrapped up until we need it. I put out a wanted ad on the 420 Cougar forums, looking for a couple parts that we still need for the engine build, because we're going to be taking the couple 428 engines up to our guy up in LA to build in the next like month, I think. So got a couple hits from people. A guy in North Carolina named Jim contacted me saying he had a couple parts and he had reasonable prices. So here's a timing cover, C8 number. It's a correct date code too. It's a 69 March. So I'm pretty happy with this thing. It's pretty clean, and it's good date for the car. So that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. You package this stuff really well. Pretty nice. And here's a water pump, C9 number. Once again, this is also a March. Yeah. C25. Yeah, so March 25th water pump. Obviously, it's been painted. Would have been blue originally, but this thing's pretty decent. Got to have get it rebuilt. Obviously, new inlet tube for the intake. So yeah, pretty happy with this. And here, talking to my camera. I can just cut it out. Here we have a oil pump. Got from Jim also. Another NOS oil pump, C2 number. So this oil pump and the pickup tube are both C2 NOS parts. That's pretty cool. Most people would say get a aftermarket like Melling pump. I did a lot of research on this crap. At the end of the day, the engine is gonna be like literally stock. It's gonna be an NOS cam. I'm gonna have NOS, if I can find it, NOS valve train for it, NOS valves, springs, tappets, you name it. Everything. I want everything to be stock. So it's gonna be like, you know, completely stock performing car. Manifolds, everything. So I did it on our Boss we built, completely stock internals, stock specs. I didn't use NOS valve frame, but everything was NOS specs. And I'm pretty happy with the performance of that car. So I'm not looking for a car that's gonna, you know, put out 500 horsepower or anything. Just happy with stock stuff. So anyway, pretty happy with all these parts. We're going to the Boss and Shelby Nationals in French Lick, Indiana. I'm sure I'll record some stuff over there. That's in early October 2nd to the 4th, I think, Indiana. And we're going to be flying into Lexington, Kentucky, because there's a guy named Greg who's on the 428 forums. He's well known on the forums. He has a couple parts we need to pick up. So such as like an oil pan, small stuff like an oil crankshaft oil slinger. What else? Like a cam retainer plate. He has some nuts and bolts. We're gonna buy it off him also. There's a couple of things.